this is attempt 3 of my tutorial on how to make a gift box with one sheet of paper, a square sheet of paper. I saw a video that I'm doing a redo to that is a tutorial on how to make this gift box, this origami one sheet gift box. I'm opening it up so you see how it's one sheet of paper and it has lots of folds in it, so it's origami. So yeah, so I'll show you how to make this. I use the really shiny, beautiful paper made sold by Michaels. So I will show you and give you some tips and tricks on how to accomplish this. Yeah, so start off with a perfectly square sheet of paper. You can start off with a regular piece of paper just to practice with, which I did also, or if you think you're ready for shiny, colorful paper that you might want to make as a gift box, go ahead. Your first step is going to be to fold it along in a triangle form. It's perfectly along the edges. Try to make it as neat as possible. The creases should be precise and neat. If necessary, you can cut the edges off that are not perfectly triangular. Sometimes, we make mistakes, and it's okay, just kind of adapt to it. Or you can just fold along until you get a really nice triangular edge. This paper is also pretty dense to work with, so it takes a little coaxing. So if you hear a lot of shuffling around, you know what that sound is. I'm just going to trim the edges here so that it's not off center. And fold again here. Your next triangle. It should look like this. Fold again, this time across the top. And again, the opposite way. At this point, you should have a triangle looking, square looking star across the center of it. Your next step will be to fold the paper. Hold on, let me reference here. I'm pretty new at this, so forgive me. Okay, so we're folding to the center of the triangle. Towards the center of the shape here, so that you're forming a square. And it should look like this. Make sure your edges are pretty creased and neat. If they're not, it's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Once you open it up, you'll see that the edges are folding in towards each other. And what you're going to do next is fold up to the first flap. So if you see in the center of that first flap, there's going to be a line going down the middle here. So you're going to that spot right here. So point to that flap there. So it should look like this. I see how that was the flap there. And do that for the remaining sides. And that should give you sort of crisscrossy pattern on the inside of the design there. At this point, you should sort of see a square in the middle. A square here goes along these lines here. And that's the square that's going to make up your gift box bottom. So I would fold those edges over where you see the little square. So again, inside here, down, over, and across. So the reason I'm folding these in is so that I don't have to coax it down later to stay in a square shape. Just recreasing these parts so that when I try to fold it in on itself, it won't give me too much fuss. After you've done that, this is the hardest step. So the hardest step is to make the folds that will make the top of your gift box. So for that, you have to look at your actual pattern. So if you notice facing you, there's two little triangles on the inside of your pattern. So it's hard to see, but there's two, when you face it towards you, there's two little mountains here, and these two little triangles, mountains, are sort of your guides to where you're going to fold. So that's where your line is going to be, where you're going to fold. So if you start at the middle of your page and you point to the left side mountain, that's where you're going to start folding to make your crease, and you're going to go all the way up to the next triangle. So that's here. Let me try to draw this so it's easier to see. Okay. So these are the mountains that I'm referring to. So essentially your line is going to go across this way up to this point here for half of that page. So I'm not sure if you could see this. So this first mountain is where you're going to start, and your crease is going to go along that line up to this point. So let me try and do that for you. And only for half of the page, so half of this part of the page. So you should have about an inch worth of folded paper there. So if you see, it went up to the X where the X was drawn, and the line is along this line that I drew here. Your line is from the first little mountain here to the edge of the paper. So that's what you're going to do for this part, this quadrant of your paper, and for the remaining sides. So you go along back, turn it turn it clockwise. So again, you did this, turn it clockwise, and you're going to identify those little triangles as your guides that are facing you. And your line will go across this way up to this point here. So I will show you again. Up to that X that you drew, and only halfway through the page. So now you have two folds, one here and one in the next side. So next corner, your triangle here, your points here, and fold up to that point for half of your quadrant, your left hand quadrant. Final side, find the two little bumps, the two little triangles. There's the second one. You don't need this one, but you need the one on this side. And you're going up to this corner here for half of the page. See my little X there? That's up to where I got. And you can sort of see the folds of the little mountain that you drew from the outside. So do you see how the little mountain you drew is there? Because you started at the top of its peak and only went down to that X. Okay. Now that you have all of your corners and you have your inside gift box drawn out, or actually I shall draw it out so you see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the bottom of your box in there. So again, if you need to crease those lines where I have drawn, if you need to crease these again just so you know what needs to be flat, you can do that. It will really help when you're trying to fold this box together, because at this point it's ready to be folded. So I'm going to crease it again just because this is only my third time making this box, so it's a bit of a struggle. Okay, so with your first corner, tuck in the top part of this. So tuck in this top part. That will really help you see like what kind of shape you should have here. And it takes a little wiggling to see exactly how it should look. And I'm again looking at my reference here because, yeah, so this top corner should have a corner there. So if you wanted to do that for your corners, that would actually help. So again, the inside corners of your square are going to be tucked in like this. Sorry if you can't see very clearly, I don't have a good camera. This inside corner will be tucked in. So you can even pinch the edge of the paper there so that it's a nice crease and easy to tuck in. then it should look more like a star, like a square. And after you tuck those parts in is when you can start to fold the box. So one side comes up, that corner's already tucked in. Another side comes up, that corner's already tucked in. Sort of like wrapping up a gift. That corner's tucked in, you can start bringing it up. And if you're working with thick paper, they sort of stay together. But if you're working with more flimsy paper, and it might take a little more folding and creasing so that it can stay tucked together. But as you can see, it's already beginning to look like the actual box. So if you hold it together, it sort of looks like a Chinese takeout box. But the final portion of this part, of this step, is to make sure that your top edges are folded in the shape that you already made for this side. So this one is already made this way. Now I gotta make sure to do it for this side. And this side. And this side. Okay? And you sort of want to push them together so that you start seeing the lines that go down this way. And they should be going on top of each other. So again, I'll show you. This one is going to go first, this one is next, this one is going to go next, and the last one is already tucked in, so then it just takes tucking of the last one into the bottom part of the one after it. And there's the gift box. So I know it looks a lot harder than it is. I would recommend that you start with regular paper or construction paper, just so that you have an idea of what the creases should look like and what the actual process is. But definitely give it a shot. It's worth doing. It looks really cute and really nice, perfectly square. Yeah, and I think it's really a good thing to learn. So you don't have to waste money on all the gift boxes that you buy throughout the holidays and so on. And as I showed you, make some of the markings that you need to make so that you know exactly where your creases should be, where the center of the box is, where the little triangles should go, and that way it's a lot easier of a process, and so that you're not struggling to rewatch and watch the videos that are out there. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm sorry if the lighting is bad and the sound is bad. I've never done videos before, so I don't know if this is going to be of help to anyone. But if it is, give me a thumbs up and go subscribe, because I don't have anything else out there, but at least I'll have this, and maybe I can make some other tutorials or helpful hints for other origami things, because it's really fun to do. Alright, well, take care and happy holidays.